Top of the morning to you. Hey, I'm Michael, or as the grandkids call me, Roo. Thank you for being online today. It's Monday morning. Welcome to the informal, informative, incisive, incandescent, incomparable, indescribable, but humble little radio show. That was an introduction that I wrote, oh my gosh, when was that, 1980? 83, maybe 84. I wrote it for a show I used to have that was called Michael in the Morning or Mike in the Morning, a local radio show. These guys came and said, hey, you could do a morning show for us. And I'm going like, well, that's something I haven't done. Let's do it. So I popped in the studio and decided that, hey, I'll just write a review and put it out there. You know how people do that? You know, they just write reviews. So I said, the post says, Michael who? And the Times said, Inco, what? And Life magazine said, don't ever call us this early again in the morning. And then I wrote a couple of quotes in there. You know, people write forwards in books, you know. See, I didn't put a forward in our book. Pat will appreciate that. I could have just made up some stuff. There's noodle doodle fiddle piddle. But I think I probably wrote the introduction myself. But I could have made up all sorts of things. You know what I put on there? I wrote on there... this is in Asheville, North Carolina, and it said, this show made me smile, Mona Lisa. So that way you know if people really read the introductions, you know. And then I wrote in there, I laughed my tut off, King Tut. And I thought that was a funny line right there, and I kept those two lines over the years. Anyway, so it's the informal, informative, insightful, incandescent, incomparable, indescribable, but humble little radio show. So 7 things in all. And that's kind of the way I feel about this painting show. Look, I have a lot of fun doing this, but it's humble. Some of you guys can paint circles around me. Yesterday, I talked 50,000 words in a matter of an hour and a half, maybe a little more than that, almost went 2 hours, with a group of DSS students, foster children. And I'm telling you, it was crazy. It was wonderful. And it was good for me. I hope it was good for them, you know, because they're into this place and they came there. This local church gave us a room to meet in, and the church even bought them lunch. It was pretty fantastic. And came in with all the DSS folks, and they had just a room set aside. We put up tables. The folks at Cheap Joe's sent me down 20 brushes, just some cool little watercolor brushes. I gave most of them away. A couple of kids said, I have art supplies at home, and most of them said, I get to take this, it's mine to keep. And so gave them some brushes. I did want to show you what they sent me. They sent me 6 tubes of paint, the paint that Rue uses, you know, Gamboge, Ultramarine, just, you know, my green, my olive, or my spring green, Terry Tardy turquoise. They sent all those, and they sent them in a little, see, I had one left over here. Let's see that well, I'm not that smart, am I? Come on, I'm smarter than this. I thought I left one up here for you to see. Oh, here it is right here. So Carol and I put these together. So what they did was they sent me these little pallets that look like this. There we go, right here. It's a little plastic pallet. and they were empty when I got them. So they had these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 15 spaces in them. And we just took the 6 spaces and dropped the paint in there so they could mix in between. So I took a little bit of the Joe's Red or Hot Mama Red, which they thought was a pretty good name, and green, and the French Gray. This is one that I probably had as a demo. Just had some left over yesterday. And well, I think I have one more here. Yeah, it's already open. Here it is. And then the little lid pops back on it like kaboop. And they got to take these home and a brush and some great paper. They sent me paper for them, so we chopped some paper. Anyway, got in there with them, and so just had a time of saying, let's do an introduction. And I don't know if you've ever tried this with some groups, but I'll give you an idea this morning. I'm having tea this morning. Welcome to the show. I'm going to say hello in just 1 second after a sip. And yeah, Terry Tardy Turquoise, you were the hit. Somebody said, what color did you say that was? It was Terry Tardy something? I said, turquoise. He went, oh, yeah. So let me say hello, and then I'll get back into this story, okay? Hey, man, thanks for piling on the show this morning, and I appreciate you being with me over the weekend. My voice is tired. I am physically just worn out. I don't know that I've ever said this next statement on the show, but I think I need a nap. And I think I might have to go take one today. Holy smokes, I'm tired. All right. Just a physical week. I'm going to show you how my project with all the metal finished up. And then my grandson helped me load. Liam, you saw him on the show probably if you watched anything of the show that I just posted. Thank you for, Grant was moving the camera here and there, and that's how Grant shoots. And Grant's my son. I had my son, my grandson there. And my grandson's like 14, big old strapping kid. And he goes, I think I want to do this. I want a blacksmith. I'm like, yes. Didn't push it on him. Just let him, I said, hey, you want one of those Cokes? And he said, you bet. So he had to make his bottle opener like everybody else. He started putting them in his apron pocket, going like, I need to make another one, Roo. I need to make another one. So I'm like, okay. So it was really fun to be out there, but over the tractors and over the sawmill, and it's a small little community tractor pull. It's not one of these big elaborate industrial, we didn't go to Minneapolis Moline and for Moline tractors and do one of those. I'm sure they are breathtaking and fun. This was just people had time to talk and stand around and have a hot dog, and it was pretty spectacular. So I loved it very much. I'll tell you about this pallet in the morning. Let me say hello to Atlanta Couch. Thanks for jumping on the show. And Linda Lawless. Bob, morning from the brazen cornfields of Iowa. Brazen as in hot or no. I learned to braze in high school, and I still braze today. Acetylene brazing, and I love it putting things back together with a little touch of brass. See there? So, got a little brass in the cornfield today. Denise Albright, thanks for your post. Deborah Spangler, it looks like Elise McQuillan. Thank you for being on the show. If my name was McQuillan, I'd have my plaid down here today, man. My wife was a McKibben, and so that's chased through the house of horses through the Grant Plaid or something like that. Karen, I don't have it all right. She does. Karen Binder, thanks for being on the show. Donacell Barton Burke, thanks for being on from Greenville, South Carolina. Love Greenville, man. Such a great town. Talk about it all the time, and I'm overdue. Ruth Fulton, Gene Anthalzer, thanks for being on the show. And Ruth, thank you for being on the show from Ireland. So you can tell us all about the Irish and the Scottish and those old, I just saw a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful report yesterday about pubs in Ireland and England, and how, the pub wasn't just to go and get soused, for heaven's sakes. It was to go and have a pint. It was to go and it was a public house. It was a place to go. And a guy made a perfect comment. He said, after you've worked all day and you have the dirt and grime on you from the job, it's a place to just shower the brain. What a great comment. Whoa, I would have loved to have written that. Art showers the brain. That's a fun comment. So cheers to you, my friend, who said, I just come in here and I visit with a friend, have a pint, and then I go home and I'm ready to get up and do it again tomorrow. I kind of like that. It's a time to meet. There's no TVs in these pubs that they talked about. Nobody wants, let's go to a pub and watch TV. No, no, no. This is not about sports. This is not about that. And I know there's soccer pubs there are. These are just places where you go and say, I want to be off in a corner by myself, reading a book or painting something. And for me, a cup of tea. And they still serve tea. Love it, love it, love it. So Ruth, thanks for being on from Ireland. Jennifer Yens, thank you from chilly, sunny Indiana. Pat Brooks, I had the book with me yesterday during the thing I did for DSS with the foster children. It's the group is called CFK, Congregations for Kids, and they try to just hook up local churches with foster kids and say, let's solve this thing. Let's get these folks in a safe place until their parents get their life straightened out or until there's another permanent home found for them. So that's kind of the whole thing. And my son, who was fortunate yesterday, they've had 22 different placements of foster children, and so they love being within that system. And I did some consulting work with them years ago on a couple of ideas. So Pat, I had the book there, and I just flipped the page over right away. A couple things that I used yesterday. And hey, if you don't have one of these books, it's time to start buying one and give it away for Christmas presents, because Pat and I haven't sold one in a while. Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle, it's the book where I wrote some of the non-rule rules, and if I had rules, I'd have written these. But they were things I said, I still say on the show. Like yesterday, I asked a little girl what a vacation or what a holiday was, and she said, well, I guess it's a vacation. And I said, right, but what is it when you're painting? And she said, there's a holiday in a painting? I said, oh, and everyone sort of perked up. So they worked for all ages kids. These were probably 11 to 18 yesterday. And they were there with no technology. We gave them a palette, gave them a brush, gave them some great paper, and said, we didn't skimp on the paper. You're getting the good stuff. Now you're going to paint something. And let's start with something that I know. They call me Roo. Let's paint a Roo. And so I painted a big one, and I laid it on the table. I didn't paint it. I sketched one, laid it on another table. I sketched another one, and I said, do a countdown. Put a clock on me in 15 seconds, and go. And I drew it, and I put it on the table, and I go, okay, draw something like that. Just see if you can. But before we did that, I had him draw a horse. I said, how many of you have ever seen a horse? Well, everybody holds up their hand. How many of you have ever ridden a horse? About three or four people. And so I went to them and I said, where? And she said, in Connecticut. And I'm like, whoa, was it a Morgan? Was it a horse with big work? Was he a pulling horse, or was he a plow horse? Was he a work horse? Was he a riding horse? Was he a show horse? What was he? And so one little girl said, I've ridden a horse. And I said, what kind of horse was it? She said, a regular horse. And so I said, did he have a horn on the saddle, or did he have lights? Or so, I just used all kinds of just trying to get them to break it up and loosen up. But I said, so have you ever seen a horse? Have you ever ridden a horse? Here's the question. How many of you have ever drawn a horse? And only one hand went up. And by the way, she could draw. And so they went through the process. So I gave them 1 minute and 15 seconds to draw a horse. On the back of, you ready for this? A paper plate. I just threw out some paper plates and went, this is not for your good art paper. Just take one of these colored markers and do it on the back of a paper plate. And don't sign it. Give them to me. And then I flipped them over. It's a fun thing to do if you're ever with a bunch of kids, and or a bunch of CEOs from companies. Works the same thing. And then I just hold up their painting like this, and I'll say, oh my, this person has been to a farm. Don't be offended by what I'm going to say. This is called art critique, and it always has to happen in every art class. So it's happening today. You've been to a farm, but I don't think you were on your way to see the horses, but you saw a duck, and so, or whatever it is. One had two heads. One looked like it was a rocket, so I just lifted it up, made the sound effects, and they started cracking up and laughing and broke the ice. And because I draw terrible horses. Horses are hard to draw because of the bends and the hocks and the legs and the way the hoof is set up at an angle, the belly and the arc in the hip. It's tough to get the proportion. The nose is long. Camels are easy. I mean, look at a camel. He's just like, whoa, he just kind of fell together. Horses are that way. So we drew a horse, and then we started on the roosters. Fun time. But I used this book about white spaces and holidays. There it is right there. Holidays are, so here's what I said. Holidays are not just for people. Oh, those are fun. When you go somewhere you've never been, when you get to do something you've never done, even like today, that's got to be a holiday. Holidays are, did you notice that there's no white paint in your palette? Because the paper's white, so you leave space in between, and that's going to make a holiday in there. I'm still teaching that to folks online today. I'm talking about you. And then I talked about don't take yourself too serious. If you get too serious, you're going to just go, oh no, and you're going to tense your shoulders. You're going to tense up from your ears down. Your brain's going to lock in. You're going to go, I don't know what to draw. Don't do that. Just lighten up and splash. Don't use a pencil. We drop pens on the table. But what if I make a mistake? I will love it when you do. Hold up your hand and say, blew that. What did I do? So here's another piece of paper. Or turn it over and let's paint on the other side. So that's kind of how it started out, and it went really well. The book's available. So I'm finding out that it really works great if you're teaching this to a younger audience. And you can just say, hey, sketch like a skater on thin ice, even with a pen. Give it a light touch. And then come back in and hash it up a little bit, okay? Pat Brooks, welcome to the show. I'm talking about you right now. Pat's art is in this book. And so if you want this, you can get it on Amazon, and it'll be to you in no time if you want it in about a week. I've got a few of them left on my desk here, but you can get it on Amazon. Noodle, doodle, fiddle, piddle, and I really do think that's the way I work. And I told them yesterday, you noodle on it just for a little bit. Don't overthink it. Just go, okay, I got to draw a horse. I got to doodle a little bit to see if I get it right. I'm going to fiddle with some of those best doodles to see how I work it. Piddle a little more, and then paint it and be done with it. Move on to a next one. How many does it take? I asked them, how many times do you have to paint a horse to get it right? One little girl said, 1. I go like, then you must really be good, because it took me 100 to just get lobsters right. All right, Pat Brooks, welcome to the show again. Nancy Catlett, thank you for the note. Trish Brown, Susan Peters, John Robert Small, fresh roasted morning to everyone from the Coffee Mountains of Veracruz, where I'm going to have to get a tea plant shipped up from you, but I do have some coffee. Drank iced coffee last week because I was working on that metal and burning up. Dinah Nicholas, thanks for being on the show this morning. Glad to have you all the way from New Jersey. Deborah Lynn Tauber. Tom, welcome, my friend. Checking in from the cooling but always beautiful coast of Maine. Brother, I'm telling you, it has been fun to talk about you and our meeting at the Sea Dog. And just being a pleasant person on the show to be able to stop on our perfect trip. You made a little drive, and we appreciate that, to catch us there in Topsom. And I loved it. And I showed my journal to the kids yesterday. And I said, look, you don't have to do huge art you're not out to impress the world. You're out to use art as a tool that you'll remember. And so I got a young lady up, and I said, I want you to stand over there. And I walked across, and I just started unfolding my journal like this from Topsom. And there it is right there. Tom, there's the little bridge that we stood under, and there's the little piece that I took a picture of you under right there. There's your pint and Carol's bisque. And loved it. So thanks to you for being a part of that. And as I went through this, I talked to them about drawing small pieces that they could use. And it never fails. And I'm not saying this because it's my journal, even if it were your journal. When you roll out 12 feet of sketches, everybody in the room goes, oh, I want that. I want to do that. I go, you don't want mine. You want your own story. And that's what this is about. So, Tom, thanks for being on the show, man. Appreciate you. June Jones, Beverly Schmidt, welcome. Heather Kuhlman, Mickey Perkins, good morning. And hi, everyone, she says. And I don't think that's a hyperbole. I think Mickey's saying hi to everyone. So, Pat Thompson, Catherine Brousseau, Ricky, Bastine Govars, all the way over from a long, long, long ways away. Thank you for being on this show, too. Pat Evans from Chile, New Hampshire. Rhonda DeHart, thanks for being on. Good morning from Faith. There it is, Faith, North Carolina. Christine Kapowski. Is it Kapowski? Awesome. I love the shot holding up that big old, looks like a white rock rooster there. Betsy Sabluski. Is it Sabluski? I don't know how to pronounce names that have more letters than 5, and that's all mine has in it. Jack Wolfenbarger, welcome. Thanks for being on the show, my friend. Chris Whitaker, Laura Abbott, Linda Linhart, Donna Buckley. Wow, thank you guys for jumping on the show and piling in this morning. Fern Skelly, Loved following your field trip. Thank you so much. It was marvelous to do. It was fun. It made me appreciate art. It made me appreciate you guys. So I'm going to jump ahead here. Lisa, thank you for being on the show. And Melanie Phillips. It's Melina. Elena. Melena, maybe. Wow, that's a cool name. Hey, Rue. Hey, Bonita. Thanks for being on the show. Irene, having my coffee. Good morning to you, she says. Sandra Stone, good morning. All right. Pam McCauley, welcome. I do deserve a nap. Pam bought me a hot dog at the tractor show. Pam, I appreciate you doing that. I was trying to offer you money, and you go, this one's on me, so I appreciate it. And Pam, meeting your dad again over and over and over, and his love for people and kids and you and his grandkids and all that, it's just pretty special. But he loves old McCormick tractors too, I can see. And he had a fun time, I think. Man, he was busy as everything, working on the sawmill and coming over here. And I love to see those guys. Met some friendly guys that run that tractor show. It was really fun. All right, here we go. Let's paint something this morning. Susan Peters, thanks for being on the show. Patricia Hazel, welcome. John Robert Small, see, I said hi to you. June. Julie Hendrick, I don't think I said hi to you. I'm scrolling down. Man, you guys are jumping on so fast I can't even keep up with it. But I got to paint this morning. So that was Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle. Remember, it's out. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on the webpage here. Just click in and send it. I've got the color book is out. Going to use one of those in the show. People have already been painting it on the painting show. The painting class. Hey, so this is what I gave the folks to paint out of, and it's kind of cool. It's plastic, but, they needed to get home with it safe. It had to have a lid, and it's the colors that I use. And I went, you don't need a lot of colors to do watercolor. And I did a lot of painting over the weekend to just give away. Carol and I went to a couple different restaurants, and it was fascinating. I love to just take my small little pad and my water brush. Sometimes I'll take one of these Ninja water brushes and my Altoid box, or in this case, my little brass box with the same colors as here, and I'll pop that open, and I'll just do something real fast at the table. And the lady who was serving us, a very sweet young lady, probably late 20s, maybe early 30s, just walked up and she said, I love that. I miss art. And she said, and I said, well, it's a simple little doodle. And she said, yeah, but it's expressive. And I said, well, you must be an artist. And she said, well, I try to draw eyes. And we had just been talking in the class last week about drawing eyes. And I said, okay, bring it on. I want to see them. And she sort of looked around. I went, it's okay. They know me here at the restaurant. And she stopped for a minute and took out her iPhone. And she scrolled through and she started showing Carol and I some of her artwork. And it was doggone impressive. And I said, girl, you got skills. You got skills. I said, I work at this. I have to do this over and over and over to get it. I love it so much, that's why I work at it. But you are just a natural. What do you do with your art? She says, well, nothing yet. I'm trying to figure it out. I want to start a website and I want to do this. And so we had her serve some other stuff and come back by, and I said, look, here's who I am. And so I ripped the table off and I gave it to her. And she says, I'm keeping this. And I painted her a rooster and I signed it. And I said, call me if I can ever be of any help or point you in the direction or help you get to your website. And she goes like, really? You would do that? I go, you're supposed to think like an artist, and you already are. It's really fun. Had that happen a couple times. Yesterday I went to a little place in the South. There's a little taco place called the White Duck Taco. It's been in Asheville for years. Charlotte now has 2 white ducks, and so we went there yesterday because I left church and had my stuff with me, had a quick bite, and then had to rush back to do this painting thing in the afternoon. So I went to the White Duck, and I was going to pay the lady some change. And so when I took stuff out of my pocket, she looked at my hand, young lady, and she said, my, you have a lot of different things in your pocket. And I said, I had a little Altoid box like this, and she said, is that a coin? And she'd never seen a silver dollar. And I said, this silver dollar was only minted in the 70s, but it's older than you are, okay? And so I showed it to her, and she looked at it. She goes, I've never seen a coin that big. And then so Carol reaches in my hand, and she pulls out the little paintbrush that I carry in my pocket. And she said, well, have you ever seen one of these? And Irma, you sent me this one. It's a little whiskey painter's brush. It folds up like this. And she said, that's a paintbrush? What do you do with that? And I said, I paint. She said, well, paint us a picture. I said, well, okay, I need some paper. Hand me one of those white paper bags. And so I wound up taking a white paper bag, and I painted a rooster holding a taco with a lobster in it that said, the lobster taco is up. And I took it back in, blew it out, and set the bag on the counter. And, hey, why not? It's a calling card, all right? So I want you to be creative in how you tell people about your art, okay? You can do it. Judy, y'all, thanks for being on the show. Renee, let's paint. Here we go. I got to put some music on, and I got to start painting something. Let's see what this is. I got wow, you guys are piling on this morning. It's a Monday morning. It's getting cool. Looks like there's a little news going around. Colin Powell. Oh, okay. I haven't seen that news. Listen to one of his long speeches one time. Fabulous. Okay. Pat has a signed copy of his first book. He was an impressive person. Love the fact that he was highly patriotic. Man, no kidding. All right, so let's do this. Here we go. Got a piece of 140 pound. It's not bright white. It's just kind of a little bit of an off-white paper. Like a Fabriano white. So I wanted folks yesterday to just be loose as they could be. And I wanted them to just paint something that they thought was good, but I wanted them to start with a rooster. So in this case, this pen, I dropped it yesterday, and I think I'm going to have to throw it away. There we go. Oops. And this what? There's a fountain pen. Let's see if I have another pen. Here, I'll just use this pen today. Back to the pintail. Why did I start this rooster way over here, huh? Because I don't need the whole page. Let's just do some doodles down here like this. Let's do his hand up here. I love to do roosters that have their hands up like this just a little bit. Their hands. Yeah, their hands to me because turn that music down just a little bit, sorry. All right, so I'm gonna, this will be the reveal. Sometimes when I'm painting for people, I have an idea of what it's going to be, and you heard me talk about it just a minute ago, so it won't be too much of a surprise to you. But at the same time, I like to just kind of hold that. I may change my idea. I may change the plan while I'm painting. You're going like, no, you wouldn't do that. Oh, yes, I would. So look, I'm just going to take this. I'm going to paint out of this today. Why not? It's open. Let's just use it. Here we go. Just give these a little bit of a sip. Hey, wake up, you people. Should have plenty of color in here to do everything I need. Might turn it this way so it'll fit in the picture just a little better. So this is what I do most mornings if I come and sit down here and I have a little time before I take a nap. Hey, I finished that metal project, so I'm going to show it to you in a little bit. So I'm just going to walk in here and get a little bit of this. Now, this is dry paper. I didn't add any water yet, and I didn't want to add water yet. Why? You're answering, why? Because I wanted this to be pretty bold. So here's what I said yesterday to those folks. If you want your colors to be more intense, use less water. If you want your colors to be less intense, thin them out with water. It's watercolor. I almost dipped my brush right in my cotton picking tea. I didn't, but I got close. All right, so there's the whole kit and caboodle. So I think that's kind of what I'm after. And so I just want a little bit of that darkness in there with a little bit of, I wanted some darker pigment here. And also now just a little extra water right on that ink because I want that black line to just kind of go in there and See how that's rolling right there? See that? I love that little look. Just always makes me happy when that happens. Grabbing some gambos, just go out here. I'm using this is a small brush. This is an SW Yasutoma brush, and I think this is a 1 or a 0, but I think it's a 1. Great brush. Yesterday, I left this like this on my demo for those people, and I said, put your brush down just for a second. Stop. And they all put their brush down. I went, okay, do not, I don't say this very often, nor very dogmatically, do not pick up that brush with yellow on it anymore and go and paint the whole neck in on that rooster. Don't. Leave those holidays in there. So that's one way to get it done. Just bring some strokes in and leave it. What if I ran into the red right there? So what? Let it just fade in. You see it fading in right there? Look, if you could follow this, if I had a close-up camera, maybe that's what I'll get for Christmas. I need to raise a little money and change my studio anyway. I need to do that. That's a good idea. I'll add a close-up camera because it's in focus. All right. So now what I want to do is I do want to get maybe a little bigger brush. Let's just get something like, what's this? That's probably too big. What the heck? I'll use this. I'll use this 1/2-inch brush. I used it the other day. It's kind of fun. This is not a 1/2-inch flat. It's more of a 1/2-inch oval. So I'll go back and use my 1/2-inch flat. There it is right there. This American Journey brush, interlock nylon. And I'm just going to go get it wet. Tap, tap, tap. Right above my head. I think you can see it if I do it right here. Look. Wet brush. I'm just going to go in there. And I'm going to dance a little water right in. And I'm using the brush a little bit on its edge. And I'm turning it, using that edge some. A little more right here. And then I'm just kind of dancing it around right here. I don't know of a better word than dance. Where you just sort of let it just kind of fall to the music and just kind of dance in there. Even though it's a orchestra playing, okay? I'm going to grab some of this blue. I'm going to start my brush in on its edge, okay? See it? See it on its edge right there? See I'm going in on its edge? And then when I get up here, I'm going to turn it and bring it down flat, okay? Comes up like this, and it comes down. Comes up like this, and it comes down. It comes up like this, and it comes down. Up like this and it comes down. That's a great way to do feathers if you want to do that. I never do it that way. Was I taught? No, I wasn't taught anything. Remember, no one's taught me how to draw roosters. I just draw them any dead-gum way I want. But that gives you a good little look. And now I'm just making some little rough feathers in there like he's just kind of out and about. This is a good little brush for that. See that? That's a good tail. Now I'm going to take this and wash it out. And I'm going to go get a little bit of lamp black in it. Right here, some lamp black over here. And somebody yesterday didn't use that color, so had to wake it up there a little bit. And I'm going to put just a touch of black in here. Now, I might grab this other brush and just splatter a little black down in there. That looks pretty cool. Okay? Ooh, that's nice looking. What might look good is a little touch of yellow in there, too. Just let that yellow come in. Can't hardly see that from where you are. Matter of fact, I can't hardly see it from where I am, so I'm going to get a different brush. I'll go back to my bamboo brush. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, and I'll put a little yellow right in there. And that yellow against that blue is going to turn green a little bit. And I want a little touch of green in the tail. That's a pretty brushy, bushy tail from where I am. Let's take a little bit of this French gray. Come in here like this. Why is he painting a rooster today? We've seen him do this before because they're all different. And they all have a little life of their own. Terry Tardy Turquoise is coming in right there. Hey, Terry. I think you're on the show today. I think I saw your name pop up as I started talking. It's a beautiful color. A little bit of green underneath here. Just one little drip. That just caught on the edge of the glass and splattered right back up in my eye. Everything's green. So at that point in time, I'm going to come in with a touch of, maybe a little touch of this French gray and this turquoise together and just let that come down like that. Now what I'm going to need to do, and that's one thing I mix, I'm going to take a little bit of this gamboge and just put it right here. Man, that's some good rooster painting music right there. I don't know what it is, but I like it. Something I bought. Just wanted some classical sounds. It's a little, quite orange actually. So I'm going to add a little more yellow, and I'm going to add a little bit of French gray. You know, the hardest thing to teach those folks yesterday was wash that brush out every time before you put it back in your colors, because in 30 minutes, this is just going to be a brown palette. Don't do it. And a lot of them painted like they had painted with acrylics before, but no one painted like they had really painted with water before. You know, when you paint with acrylics, you kind of just pile it on and go back over it and work color on color, and they were painting the watercolor like that. I didn't stop them. It was great. I always wanted to see them create. There was a young boy, and I'll call him Joshua, because that was his name. And I was talking about painting loose. I was talking about just letting the pieces fall together. And so I'd walk around and I'd sort of talk and teach and look and help and not correct, but just say encourage. And so he would start like this. I got to show you how he would start. He would start like this. Let me lay that up there for a second. Just let it be. I'd say, okay, so what I want you to do right now, Joshua, is just be really loose. These are some journal pages that are 138 watercolor paper. So I'd say, okay, well, just think you've got this piece of paper. Most of the time I talked about small art, but I give him some 9x12. And so he started with, I said, all right, draw the face of this rooster. So I had done a face like this, and I laid it down on the table. So when I went over to see how he and Carlos were doing, he had a little face like this. Okay. And I said, okay, so, Joshua, you're talking small art. That's really good. So then I said, go for it, man. And I love the fact that you turned the rooster's face to look at you. That's awesome. That's called perspective. And I just was doing a flat perspective because it's easier for people to learn. And it gives me a chance to just use the page and reveal a story. So, but sometimes I'll turn ahead and look at that way. So I came back, he had a little leg, and he had a little piece like this. Then he had this, and then over here he had a house, and he had a barn, and then he had some other chickens, and he wrote in sound effects, cluck, cluck, and he had all this stuff going on. And so everybody else is splashing, and they're doing this, and they're doing that. He's back over here. He's drawing a little bit of some corn. Bob, you would love it. He was over here, and he's doing some corn. He had a couple little things. In 35 minutes, he didn't want to switch to the next thing we were going to do. I wanted him to do a couple things that I just told him. They said, what do you paint most? I said, roosters, shrimp, and dragonflies. And he stayed with the rooster. I said, fine, go for it. So he did this full scene and had a complete story. When you see that happening, you go back and you go, man, you are a storyteller, aren't you? And he goes, yeah, I wanted to see this in a scene altogether. And I said, I get it. I don't. I let my character be the story. That's fine. You want to let the scene be the story. Go for it. And so he wound up doing this whole thing. At the end of the day, he said, would you like to have this? And I said, yes, but I'm not going to take it. I want you to keep it. And I want you to have someone where you stay, frame it for you, sign it. And then I want you to keep painting. And then 10 years from now, I want you to go back and look at that and go, wow, how far I've come. And you still may be illustrating books or painting. So those are the kind of the fun things that come out of times when you encourage folks like that. So it's a great opportunity to go out and do that. So here is because I've been to Maine now, and because I've been painting lobsters like a goofball, I'm going to do another little lobster here like this, but I'm not finished with him. I'm going to put him in a taco shell. And this is what I painted yesterday for the folks at the restaurant where we went to the White Duck Taco. All right, so it doesn't look like much from where you are probably, but I'm thinking it's a pretty good doggone taco. I'm going to put a little bit of color in my taco shell. Maybe it's a corn one. Here it is. A little bit of corn right there. Catch this back part just a little. And then, of course, this lobster would be red because he'd be cooked. But he's just laying on the taco shell, and there he is right there. Rooster, taco eater. Put her in a taco shell there. He came very well. Okay, so there you go. So there's my little. And this is why you've got to be careful when you're painting. Like I paint, you just get your hands all sorts of stuff. Hear my voice? My voice is weak today because I've talked a million words the last few days. It has been fun. Finished up my project. I'm going to show you a couple pictures here in just 1 second. So what's my goal today? My goal is to encourage you to paint stories, to paint paintings to give away, to paint paintings to inspire other people to paint, to just keep painting. There's a rooster having a lobster taco. That's an expensive taco, I'll tell you that right there. So I gave him a caption yesterday, and I signed it, and I took it back in, and they all had a little meeting behind the counter and said, wait a minute, you were just outside for 5 minutes. And I said, yeah, I wasn't talking. I wasn't doing the show that I do where I get sidetracked and tell a story. I was just painting. Carol and I were eating, and I was just painting. And they went, but you can't paint that quickly. And I said, okay, well, is this your paper bag? And they said, yes. And I said, did I know you were going to ask me, why did I put green in the sky? See, I am tired. I'm going to have to go take a nap. But maybe it's a tree. I just reached right over there in the wrong. This is not my palette I normally use. I just reached right over in the wrong place without looking. You know how you go to get the S on the typewriter or the computer keyboard and it's not there anymore? That's too funny. That just cracks me up. Little blue in the sky. My brother used to say, if there's enough blue in the sky to make cat britches, it's not going to rain today. All right. We're digging spuds for the next 2 weeks, Ruth Fulton says. Woohoo! Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. All right. Let me just scroll through. Let's see. Glad to hear you did well. Okay, let's see. Must have been such an enjoyable day. Okay, you guys are just having conversations. If there are any questions for me, I'll try to answer them later. I did some splatter painting yesterday at the paint factory. Good for you, Ricky. Woohoo! Terry Tardy Turquoise. Terry says, I'm here. Good for you. Reddy says, stay behind the mule, keep plowing, and you'll get there. It took me a whole paint outside the lines. Yeah, Pat, it's hard for people to paint loose. Everybody wants to paint tight little pictures, and there's nothing wrong with those, especially if people love them, if people love your work. Yeah, we also said there's enough blue in the sky to make Dutchman's breeches. We always said cat's breeches because we weren't Dutch, we were German. We were close. So Skeeter Powell does have a birthday. He and I are supposed to touch base this week, and we will after this show because I don't have any news, but we'll touch in. All right, so taco shell uses a lobster trap. There it is right there. So that's the painting that I did yesterday. And guess what? I was going to paint. I literally set out to get them to paint a dragonfly. And you know what? I painted so many lobsters in the last few weeks because of the trip to Maine. I couldn't even remember how to paint a dragonfly. I had to stop and go, wait a minute. What am I doing here? Where's this going? And so I took some smaller paper because I told them how important it was to have small work that you could give away, that you could share with families, that you could get on the refrigerator. And so it worked out well. Hey, let me show you something that I've been working on. Ready for this? It's finished. In fact, at 8 o'clock this morning, the truck pulled in my driveway and hooked up to the big trailer and hauled it off. It looks like this. There'll be a little bit of a sound there. Let me see if I can get it to stop. Nope. Move the effects. Here we go. There we go. All right. So the piece on the right that you're seeing over there. This the sheets of steel weigh. They're thin. They're not too thin. They're not core tin. This is actually sheet steel, and I didn't want them to clean the oil off. I used the oil to get some of that undulation in them. And so, but they weigh about 85 pounds each. And so I moved each piece 5 times. And so you drag it over and you pick it up. It's like carrying a piece of linguine. Earplugs would be good. And so, so I told Carol, I said, wait, there are 21 pieces. I moved each piece 5 times. So that's 8,920 pounds, or is it 9,820 pounds, one or the other. But it's my truck twice. And so I'd finished that, and then that night I loaded up all my stuff for the blacksmithing thing. So I went, okay, this is going to be a physical weekend. So it was really fun. But it's always great to do that kind of stuff. And yes, I learn something every time that I do it. I really do. And every time I go into a process like that, I learn something new. This just came to me yesterday. I never thought, as much as I painted lobsters in Maine, I never thought about putting one in a taco. I thought of a lobster roll, but wow, putting one in a taco shell. That was kind of fun. So I want you to be loose today. I want you to paint something fun and, just enjoy. So I had to go back yesterday and I said, okay, we're about out of dragonfly season, so we better finish up the season strong. And so that made me think about drawing a couple just round eyes, and then just maybe a big old shoulder that comes down and up here like this, and then the body, and then these little squiggly legs that come down like this, and they're just all over the place. And dragonflies generally don't have antennae. They're not like grasshoppers. And then maybe come in here and put in a couple wings like this, and maybe an under wing, and then give him a body like so. And I thought, I haven't done these in so long, I couldn't even remember how to do them. And I had to stop and just stop for a second and go, what am I doing? And I'm just doing with the fountain pen. I got another little piece here. Put some little dots in there. This is a fountain pen and maybe a little shadow piece that's going to go in there, another little leg. And so I had this little dragonfly, and then I thought I want to just get a wispy little brush. The most wispiest. Here we go. I'll just use this. This needs a bamboo brush again. I love bamboo brushes. If I were going to use another brush, I'd probably yank out one of these little this brush right here would be great. Look at this brush. This is called a Rigger, R-I-G-G-E-R, and this is a number 1. Can you see that? Man, if I were using this brush, here, I would just come in. I'm going to get a little bit of, let's just mix up a little bit of blue, a little bit of this green, a little bit of this yellow here, a little bit of this terry-tarty turquoise. And what am I looking for? I don't know. But I think that about found it. A little more water right in there. That looks like a little spring greenish. I'm going to put a little bit of this French. Oh, look at that. Okay, so and then I'm going to take this on my brush like so. And then I'm just going to, I'm going to do something really crazy. I'm going to take my little misting bottle, and I'm just going to mist this. Boop, just like that. Oh, you see what happened? Those lines just shot out like that. See how it sort of got thick? And then I'm going to go in here and just grab this and let it just brush in. This little liner brush just over the water that I sprayed in there. If you get tired of playing with art, you might have to go find a new hobby, because I'm telling you, this to me is playing. I didn't have any orange in there, so I just made some. I dropped this. See, those little cups are good for mixing on. I need some real live hot terry-tarty turquoise to do the tail end of this bird. And it's not a bird, but I meant bird as in, I didn't mean bird as in bird. I meant bird as in this one, and I need a little bit of green. I want these eyes to be kind of green. Look at that right there. There's some green right there. I think I remembered how to do. So go back and paint something that you haven't painted in about 6 months or even maybe a year, and just figure out what it's going to be. This little brush, by the way, is so fun. Did you see the feathering on that brush? It just took off. Here, let me do. I got time. I got 10 minutes. I'm going to do one more of these for you just to show you how quick it can be done. So there's a little dragonfly. And I love the fact that this spray of water is causing all those colors just to coagulate in the middle there, to blend together. And I think I used 1, 2, 3, 4 colors, and I just mixed them together. So here we go. So we'll try one more. Let's do one flying up. Let's do one coming uphill, okay? There's his eyes like this, kind of double those eyes up just a little bit. Let that be, and his shoulders back like this. And then let's go out here with wings from these, and I'm using I should have used a fountain pen. So here we go. I'm going to use a fountain pen. Just go out here like this. And I'm not going to finish these wings. I'm just going to let them go out there and be open. And then maybe that other wing is doubled under. I like that music. Sometimes I should keep up with the music and see what it is, because it just kind of makes me want to paint better. And then these legs should come out like this. I'm going to use a different pen for those legs. I don't want them to go out, and they should come out like this. Got the little foot pads on them there. When that one dries in a minute, I'm going to show you something else on it. Okay, I'm going to go with this rigger brush again. It's a number 1. It's American Journey. It's interlock nylon, R-I-G-G-E-R, rigger. These are what people do with Pat probably has 5 or 6 of these, and some of you who do fine little lettering or pinstriping or something like that. I'm liking this color. I'm going to add a little more yellow to it and put it in here. Touch some of that orange into this color right here. Just a little more orange in there. It's the end of the season, and this dragonfly is beginning to dry up a little bit. This is a misting bottle, M-I-S-T-I-G, $4.29 from Cheap Joe's. Just going to push the button, and it's just going to mist. So watch this. I'm going to give it one shot. There it is right there. I can't even really see where it landed on the page, and I'm not worried about it in the first place, okay? Go in here and grab some of this, and then I'm just going to start taking it and brushing it out. Just laying my brush in that wet paint and just streaking it out like this and letting the water that I sprayed on there join it for me. I'm not over brushing. I'm not over painting. Hey, folks, we do it all the time. We go, oh, I need to put some over there. I should have put some there. No, quit. I'm going to put a little blue in there just because I think this one needs just a touch of blue in this underwing here. And then I'm going to change the body on this one. I'm going to do his orange. Well, no, I'm not. I'm going to keep this big orange block right there. Speaking of big orange block, my friend who picked up the stuff this morning was in Knoxville before the UT game. He goes, I've never experienced anything like that. You know, my wife and I went to University of Tennessee. She went to the University of Tennessee. I only went for a quarter. But I was there. And I said, when you experience that college at a football game, whether they win or lose doesn't matter. People just go crazy. It matters to the coaches, but and to the athletic department, whether or not they want to keep the coach. Tough business to be in. All right, I was talking. I could have finished that. Look at this. I'm just kind of letting this dance around like this. Look at this. Just put this little brush and just flipping it in here like this. And then I'm just going to splatter it around a little bit with some of this color. Let's just use some of this I've been using for that. I'm going to need a little more oomph in the splash department. So let me just go and get my brush in some of this and then just hit it in there like this. And then I might just put some water down here like this, put a little blue in there, and just blow it out a little bit and just let it splash around so it looked like a little bit of sky. And I used blue this time for my sky. All right, I'm not tired. And bring this back in here, brush this body together, let some of this just falter. And look at that. I've got this dragonfly. Do I need to finish these wings? Heck no. What for? Everybody knows it's a wing. It doesn't matter if it's out there or not. It's off the page. I love to draw things that are off the page. I tell people that dang artist should have planned ahead. All right. So that gives you an idea, a little shading in there. Now I'm going to take this one back and let this one dry, move this out of the way, get my Pentel pen and go in right here and just do a little bit of detail on the eye. There it is right there, and maybe beef up a couple of those little legs. And I can come in here and then maybe put a couple more little dots around here. Just a little detail. I like that. I went back to Joshua yesterday and said, look, everybody's just kind of piling paint on paint. You're going back and you're adding little pieces of detail that tell me that this painting, it was exactly the way you wanted it when it left your hand. You're going back and you're going like, hey, there's a toenail in there. There's some lines on the lobster. You know, going to put a little dark in him. Going to come back in with that little line. Where's that little liner brush I had? I lose more tools than I keep up with. Oh, it's up here. So I come in here now and get a little bit of this yellow gamboge and put it down here on the claws like this. This is, if you're not painting and having fun, if you're not painting and you're not enjoying it like this, I feel like you probably ought to change what you paint tomorrow. If you're painting a flower today, just let it be as loose as it can possibly be. Just enjoy it. Make it just go somewhere. Okay, so there you go. Now you see that lobster in that burrito, that taco. Hey, I'll throw him, I'll trim him like this. He'll frame really well, and I go, of course he's steamed. You would be too. All right. Okay. Hey, it's almost 10 o'clock and I'm out of here. Let's go back and detail this one here. And it's Monday morning. I hope to see you tomorrow morning. I have got some busy work in my office today. I've got a shop that somebody's going to have to clean up. Oh, wait, that's me. And then I'm going to have to... I might be forced to just go have another cup of coffee and just sit outside on the back porch. It's about 50-something degrees here. And, or maybe I do need coffee and just have some tea and just sip it along. I hope you enjoy being an artist. I hope you enjoy going back to what you paint. People say, come on, how many roosters can you paint? Don't you get tired of painting them? And I go, no, I don't, because they're storytellers. And I don't get tired of the colors running together. And I don't get tired of people learning. And I don't get tired of encouraging other people to take the creative process, take the step. Quit talking about it this year and paint. You can do it, whether it's for a journal, whether it's in one of these. And look what I have. I opened it yesterday. Take a look. This is it. That's the one from Maine. That's the one from France over there. This is the one that's never been painted in yet. And there it is. Ah, yes. Have a new journal ready for the next excursion that Carol and I head on. I'll buy one more, and I hold it unwrapped, or hold it wrapped for when we get on a plane. Maybe, could be a year from now. I don't know. It's supposed to be this Christmas, but it's not. We were going to Israel. And I've been to Israel several times, but I've never been there to sketch. I've been there to journal, and I've been there to study, and I've been there to visit and take our family, but I've never been there to sketch. And so that's one of the places I'm looking forward to. And but I'll keep you posted. Maine was brilliant. I have been to California, but I wasn't painting when I went to look at other art. And that was over 12 years ago, and I didn't even carry paint with me. I didn't know I was ever going to paint. So I go back to the things that I'll paint over and over and over. I have some tea towels that I'm working on. So the books are available. The mugs are available. The right-hand, left-handed mug. There it is right there. Got a rooster head on both sides. Those are, you can find at roodoodles.com. Thanks for loving the show. Thanks for, I appreciate you doing that. Also, and commenting. I'll try to get to answers to some of these. At the same time, my goal this year is to do, it's a surprise, but I'm working on it, so I can't tell you. Well, maybe I did tell you. I think I'm going to do a kitchen apron, and I think I'm going to do a painting apron. And so I'm working on those two with a printer, and I've got to come up with the design that I love, and I got to get busy on them. So my goal before, maybe in the next month and a half before Christmas, is to deliver 4 tea towels and a couple aprons, and just because people are so kind and you're asking for them, and so why wouldn't I do that? And I'd love to have some things in the shop. Just to kind of keep that extra money that comes in the shop goes into gear for this show and tools. And thank you, Cheap Joe's, for what you do. Thanks for supplying the paint for me to go paint with those special kids yesterday. And to Yasatoma, they posted my journal, and it was so fun to get comments and see using water brushes and colors. And I love it very much. Thanks for being a part of this. I will see you tomorrow, Lord willing, after a good nap. If I look tired, well, yeah, all right? And it's good to be tired. It's good tired, as Harry Chapin used to say. Harry, keep the change. All right. So, blessings to you. I'll go back through some of these comments today, give them a little note here and there. And thanks. I love the apron idea, too. I need a good apron with a rooster on it, and kind of classy looking. He's not going to just be a full rooster. I may just I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm working on it, and I think my tea towel is not just going to be a lobster doing the YMCA. He's going to be a lobster that's sort of maybe coming up out of the pocket. Okay, I think he's going to have a little bit of, let's see, I got 2 minutes. No, I don't. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think he's going to be a lobster looking something like one of my lobsters in here. I think he's going to be something like this. He's going to have a lot of color, and he's going to be coming up out of the pocket of the apron. And so we'll see how that works. Maybe something like this. I've got a blue one that I'm working on. So I love them. I love it when I find something new that I haven't painted. And I'm not sure what I'm going to paint in Israel, but it might have to be, I don't know, I might have to paint olives or spectacular olive wood. All right, I'm out of here. Blessings to you all. See you tomorrow, Lord willing.